Hi, I'm Renee Dowling, and I would like to share my newest journal that I finished. I started this journal actually in the summertime at a art visual journaling workshop that I was at in Red Deer at the Polytech. And the instructor, Arlene, she had a different approach to making a journal. What she does is she puts pages together and then makes it into a book. And so I thought I would tell you a little bit about how I made this and what the inspiration was. First of all, when we were trying to decide on a theme, I was going through some old photographs and I found a photograph of my husband's grandma, and it looks like this here. And it intrigued me a lot because on the back of it, she had written the words, "Don't you think I've gotten fat?" So I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then it made me start thinking about the perception of being fat. And then this whole journal evolved from that. So when we started making our journal pages, or our pages for our book, what we did was I started off with some random pages. So instead of having a piece of paper to build on, I just started gluing pieces together. So I'd put a little glue on the back of the paper, glue it down, and then put another piece of paper down, glued it down. And then it just kind of built pages that way, and then trimmed the pages to make one page. And then started developing the theme of "Don't you think I've gotten fat?" on top of it. And then when we had all the pages finished, then I decided to bind my pages together in a little, by folding some paper into this like accordion style, and then you glue each page in. And then you make a front cover. So I decided to make my front cover out of just some cardboard from the back of watercolor paper. And then I covered it with some puffy wallpaper. And then also I repeated some of the wallpaper inside. So just wanted to focus a little bit on the theme, "Don't you think I've gotten fat?" This is a photocopy of the original page. And I decided to put the original page inside just because it was more protected inside. So here's what the original looked like. This was a picture transfer, and we used gel medium. And I like some of the pages that I use, like these pages here, I had burned holes in using an incense stick. And the topic of "Don't you think I've gotten fat?" It was interesting. Every time I picked a page, I could find something relevant. So I found the word like mean, and then like you think that your eyes are on you, and then how awful it is to your self-esteem, thinking that you're fat. And then I put like, what the heck? Why would you write that on your grad photo? So yeah, she wrote this on the back of her grad photo. And I'll show you in a minute what the writing on the back of her photo looked like. And then for the inside page of this book, I decided to just collage a bunch of old papers, and this photo was like from the 1930s. And so like I just found words, just randomly picked pages, but the words like woman and flattery and disadvantage and body and weigh and count. And this page, these little pieces of paper here, are copies of some receipts that I found in my husband's grandma's dresser from the 1950s, showing the prices of things. And Um, it was also from a local store from my community, so I thought I should include that as well. So I found when we were going through my husband's grandmother's things, we found a whole bunch of letters, and so I made some copies of the letters. And this one copy of the letter was from 1930, and I loved how she wrote little cute things. Like she said, "I feel like going to bed right now, as it is 9:45, then to sit down and write letters. But I am just going to write a few lines to let you know I am still alive and just fine and dandy." And so I decided to pull those words out, fine and dandy, and I put, "Are you really fine and dandy if you wrote that on the back of your graduation photo?" And then drew a bunch of characters kind of like in the same kind of dresses as they did back then, and put like, "Why? What?" Now this is what the back of the photo looked like. And it says, "This is me and my graduation dress. It's lavender with white lace. Don't you think I've gotten fat?" So I put down as a response to that is, "Tell me this, why do we dwell on our figures when we are supposed to be celebrating our successes?" So I put there, like, why? So I put celebrate, not deprecate. And then I also decided on each page, like once these were done, then I glued them down into the book and on some watercolor paper. And then I built a background to kind of, I didn't like all the whiteness. And so I decided to put like sort of a grungy background, like as if it was like from the dirty 30s. And then I also decided to do some journaling alongside. Stop with this negative self-talk. Stop looking for validation from others. Celebrate your successes and strengths. Your weaknesses can end up being your superpowers. You are more than your size. And then then also I found like a book page that says, "She was growing quite a big girl." I said, why do we say things like this? Like a big girl, like does that mean she's tall? Does that mean she's fat? Like what does that mean exactly? So these ambiguous words that we use can be misinterpreted, especially by the person who's receiving these so-called comments or compliments. And then I had done a series of faces, and so I decided to use them up. And then it made me think about, like when I was a little girl, my family would play this song. It was called Too Fat Polka. And basically the words were, "I don't want her, you can have her, she's too fat for me. She's too fat for me, she's too fat for me. I don't want her, you can have her, she's too fat for me." And, at first it seemed kind of funny, but then thinking back now, it's like, that's really insulting. And then I just wrote a little comment here that it's a special time of her life and she should have been celebrating her graduation from high school, as back then not a lot of women or girls graduated from high school. They often would stay home and help take care of other children in the family and help on the farm. So for her to graduate, that's a huge thing. And just asking, like, why would she put that on the back of her graduation photo? And then I talked about body shaming is not okay. A person is more than their size. I've met some really horrible skinny people, not skinny people. And not skinny people who are different in size. And the reverse is true. I admire people who build up others because of their deeds and skills instead of how they look. And then I love this page here. I took it from the back of a library card, and on it, or a library book, and it had like a whole bunch of dates dating from the 50s all the way to 1980s, and the word discarded. So I thought that was kind of interesting because lots of people, think they're discarded because of how they look. And then it got me thinking more about folklore and little sayings we used to have when we were kids. And I think it blinds people to not really see how things affect other people. And, so anyways, I put blinded by folklore, and here's another person that I did. It was just a real quick, drawing, so not worrying about proportions and scale and all that kind of stuff. And so I decided to make it into a flap. And then I put it on here. At first, at the time, it seemed harmless, even funny. So I remember my mom saying this: Fatty and Skinny went to bed, Fatty rolled over and Skinny was dead. At first it's funny, but then it seems harmful now. And then I also made the journaling. Over time, what was once acceptable is no longer. I'm glad about that. I was always afraid to speak up and defend myself or tell others they are being hurtful. Now I will speak up, not to change their mind, but to make them aware that there is more to think about. And then there's some little excerpt from Grandma's letters again. And then I was flipping through one of the assignments for the class was to use some magazine images. So I found this magazine image, and then I had him like, what are you talking about? So here's a photograph from 1927, and you can tell that the fashion then was, very boxy. And so I said, what the heck are you talking about? You're not fat. Stop that. Your dress does not show your curves and makes you look like a box. You are not fat. It's very interesting how they all have similar hairdos and the same kind of dress, and you just wear whatever's in fashion instead of what really looks good on people. And then in the background of this page that I found, it had things like fashion preferences and stylish, and so it all kind of fit together. And then what I decided to do was paint with some black paint, and then I put a stencil underneath the magazine, and then I took some sandpaper and then scratched off some of the paint, and then got this texture. So then I just talk about choose, the clothing that makes you happy and feel good, and not necessarily what other people are wearing. And then this page I had completed a long time ago, and then decided to include it with some modifications. So on the circles, I put all things that I feel like that I am. And then despite all of that, you still have doubts about, how you look, and it keeps kind of clogging your mind throughout time. And then I did a bunch of journaling around the outside that's really private, but it's about some hurtful things that people have said over time to make you, a person doubt their looks. And then here, on this one, it had truth on it before I started, and then I thought, it's the invisible truth. So, I had the word invisible, and this girl was invisible, and I said, I just added to it the invisible truth. So the truth is, when you're young, we tell ourselves we are fat. We look back and discover, look back on our photos and discover that we were not fat, and we wish we could be slim like we were when we were younger. And then I questioned, are we ever happy with our weight? And I also put, be happy with where you are in your life. Focus on your abilities. You will get to the stage in your life when you just don't care what others think, and realize that actually they think very little of you. So they might look at you for a couple of seconds, and they're so busy thinking about themselves and worried about themselves that they're probably not even spending that much time thinking about you. And then on the pages that I chose, I found the word "the truth," so I circled that. And here's a printout on tissue paper of a photo I took with a nest, and then it says, "Can we start again?" Kind of like, let's change our thinking. This was also a image transfer, and it turned out so well. And this was in one of our photo albums. I don't even know who this person is. I'm assuming it's a relative. So then on this one, I had made a bunch of people, and I said, it's time that we start speaking up. Enough is enough. And then in the background of these pages, I found the word like violet veil, and that goes with her violet colored or lilac colored dress, and the word thin. So I circled that, and, unhappy life, disgrace. Some people feel disgraced about what they look like. And then I started thinking about all the contradictions you hear. Like first you say, oh, you shouldn't eat meat. And then there's diets where you only eat meat. And then it'd say, oh, you should cook your vegetables. Then no, you shouldn't cook your vegetables. And don't eat carbs. And then other diets are like, eat carbs and don't have sugar. And then, but you need sugar. Try honey. Honey is sugar, so don't have honey. Exercise, but exercising won't help. You hear that now. Do you run on the treadmill? Do you do this? Well, that could be making you gain weight. Like, oh, seriously. Don't eat fruit. Don't eat fruit. Then you say, oh, you have to eat fruit. Have 7 servings of fruit and vegetables. Count calories. There was a phase where count all your calories. And now it's like, don't count your calories. And that's too much. Weigh the food. Don't weigh the food. That's not enough. So they say, like, you could be gaining weight because you're not eating enough foods. It's like, oh. And then now it's like, it's your hormones. And then you'd hear, it's your heredity. There's nothing you can do about it. It's your fault. And then it's not your fault. And you need potassium. Pickle it. Dry it. You have like all these different things. And like it's to the point where you don't know what the heck you're supposed to eat. And so I thought, like, there's all these don'ts and do's and don'ts and do's, and it keeps changing over time, and so it becomes very confusing. Then I put, celebrate your successes, focus on the type of person you are, what makes you special inside. You do know that it is special that you graduated. Not very many people did that back then. And then in response again to the letter, you are more than your size. And then I also chose another letter just to kind of show her handwriting and throughout time. And then I said, we must emerge, be kind to ourselves. We must be more than just our size. And then these people are saying, stop. And then again, I found, like randomly, I found these words and they seem so relevant, like musts and truths. And that kind of goes back to the previous page. You must do this, you must do that. What is the truth? Let's find out. And all about fashion seems to be the thing here that made her feel that she might look fat because of the boxiness of her dress. And it seems such a tragic thing. And it seemed like kind of despairing. So replace, and I was thinking about what we say to little kids and our granddaughters and sons too. Like, replace you are cute with you are beautiful. Oh no, let's say that again. Replace you are cute, you are beautiful with you are unique, you are knowledgeable, you are a valuable person. You completed this task with perseverance, skill, and bravery. You are more than your looks. And then this was also an image transfer taken from a magazine. And then I included another letter. I wasn't sure how to finish this all up, so I included another letter from my husband's grandma. And then one of the phrases is, take good care of yourself. So I thought that would be like a really nice way to end this. And then I put, you are kind, you are nice, you're helpful, you are kind and talented, you are brave, you are sweet, you are thoughtful, you are interesting. Then I included another photograph to show the setting and the time. And then, there's words popping up like exercise, dress, follow directions. And then the instructor, she said that sometimes she writes a little summary. So I just wrote a little letter kind of summarizing this. I was shocked to read Grandma Bruns's comment on the back of her high school graduation photo. Don't you think I've gotten fat? This became the focus of this visual art journal. It turned out to be an exercise of self-reflection and a re-examination of my childhood and folklore. Selma's love letters to Peter, who we call Bumpa, appear throughout. And then some of the pages that I chose randomly had the word like judgment on it, heaviness, weightiness, massiveness, enough, destroy, weigh. And I decided just to leave the back blank. So thank you very much for watching the video. I'd sure love to hear what comments or stories that you have about yourself and body image. And if you enjoyed this video, then would love it if you would subscribe to my channel and follow me, and thumbs up if you liked it. And you might try establishing a theme for your art journal and develop pages first and then put it together in the book like you did in this one. It's something I don't always do, but I think I might try it again sometime. But it took me a long time to complete it, as I wasn't sure exactly how to all put it together to make it cohesive. But I think I finally did it.